Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sakinah Larine and my registration number is A1M218019. In the previous video, my friend have explained about language variation from the speaker aspect, and now I want to explain the other language variation, namely language variation in terms of usage, language variation from the formality aspect, and the language variation in terms of facilities. Okay, uh, I will explain the first one, that is language variation in terms of usage. So language variation in terms of usage is a language that used for a purpose or in a file. For example, the language that used in the military, education, agriculture, tribe, journalism, and so on. Every file have the unique vocabulary from the other file. For example, that the vocabulary that used in a literature work is words from the is the words from the aesthetic point of view, and the vocabulary in journalism is also different, because vocabulary in journalism have certain characteristic, like simply, communicative, and concise. That is because the word in the journalism have to understood easily by the reader. Okay, uh, from in this variation, we can see that every file have the unique vocabulary, and we can see that the variation of language, the different of the use of the language, we can see by the use or who used the language. And the next variation is the language variation from the formality aspect. Okay, in this variation there are 4 types. The first type is variative reason. Okay, have you ever seen the language that used in the public ceremony or sermons? Okay, the language that used in that is the example of the frozen variety. And in this type, the frozen variety is the most formality language that used in this type. And the second type is the formal variety. This language is always used in official meeting or correspondence. And the third variety is a casual type. This type is used in a formal situation, like when you talk or when you're talking with your family or your friend. That is the one example language that used in the casual variety. And the last type is the familiar variety or intermediate. This type is always used the speaker when the speaker speak with the familiar relationship, and the language that used in this type is usually short and indicate. Okay, and the okay okay, and the last variation is the language variation in terms of facilities. So we can see the different language or the variation of language by see the terms or the road. For example, the language that we use when we are speaking in a telephone or in a radio is a different with the language that we use when we write a letter or a novel. So uh, the language that we use when we speak or we write is sometimes have a different. So I think that's all that I can explain. Thank you very much for watching, and the next material will be explained by my friend in the next video.